Welcome to the Past Present Feature Podcast. Italian documentarian Parsifal Reparato discusses She, his 5-year journey inside Vietnam's electronic manufacturing world, earned through slow trust building with workers afraid to speak openly. We unpack creative influences like Lars von Trier's Dogville, Joshua Oppenheimer's The Act of Killing, and the observational approach he absorbed from working with Roberto Minervini. Parsifal explains how the film's black box reenactment set became a space where workers could rebel, speak freely, or even destroy it. Instead, they rest together, revealing exhaustion itself as resistance. We talk filmmaking as labor, the emotional toll of activist storytelling, parting with his first editor, and later rebuilding the film with Alicia Cam, whose perspective shaped its final form. Parsifal reflects on his Locarno premiere, the weight of representing real people on screen, and the responsibility of carrying stories born from hardship. Advice to filmmakers: trust your voice early, accept risk, and if you're going to struggle anyway, struggle for something that matters. And I'm just going to read your synopsis really quickly. She is a choral narrative about some of the 80,000 workers in one of the largest electronic industry plants based in Vietnam. 80% of the basic workforce are women who have agreed to work 12-hour shifts day and night. The bodies of the workers are revealed bit by bit, maintaining the necessary anonymity that guarantees the freedom to denounce the harshness of the imposed working conditions. She is a mother, daughter, wife, single person, migrant, and settler at the same time. Each protagonist is different. However, they are all connected in the exploitation they are subjected to every day, unable to realize their dreams due to relentless exploitation. So that word exploitation reminds me of oppression, little person, little man or woman versus the man, right? I mean, I feel like we can relate here because some of my past projects, many of my past projects are similar as far as, this David versus Goliath. Would you say that's a big part of big theme in your film here? Just highlighting the oppression and the exploitation of these people. Can you talk about that?
Yes. She was born from an important research in collaboration with the University of L'Orientale of Naples and the Vietnamese Academy of Social Science. And we were focused the research about strengthening workers' rights and representation. So we worked to empower civil society organization and trade unions. So all the research during several years, I work in Vietnam from over 10 years, around 15 years, about workers' rights. So this specific research started in 2020 during the pandemic situation. And we get just the researchers from Vietnam, the Institute of Research from Vietnam, Vietnamese Academy of Social Science, just bring me in several industrial suburbs and they say, where do you want to work? Where do you want to make your investigation with us? Because we are interested to work in electronics factory and we are making an investigation about this. And we need an advocacy video for trade union to make training for trade unionists. And then we go around to looking for many factories. The main corporate factory around Vietnam. I mean, LG, Apple, Samsung, all the electronics that are investing in Vietnam in this moment. So we go around to investigate many electronics factories managed by big corporation and foreigner investors. And I choose one of the most important industrial suburbs where one of the biggest factories is based. And from the beginning, what I found, I tried to investigate, I tried to interview hundreds of workers, like my colleagues from Vietnam tried to do that. And we found several scared workers that they didn't want to talk with us.
Sure.
They were scared. They afraid to talk about their work, what happened inside the factory. Mm-hmm. So at the beginning, my engagement was for just 2 months. Then, because the issues with the pandemic situation, so the bureaucracy and all these things, all this stuff, I stay in Vietnam for 6 months continuously to making this research. And we push to try to talk with someone. At the end of the 6 months, I achieved to talk, to make interview to around almost 100 workers, quantitative interview and qualitative interview.
Wow.
Between these 80, 100 workers, I starting to build a relationship with the workers that were less scared, maybe not less scared, that they really want to communicate something outside they need for several reasons. Someone who really trusted in our research, someone who looking for revenge against the line producer or line manager, or something like that. So everyone with several reasons, but I starting to build important relationship. This relationship at the beginning was based on the try to make a game to defeat the fear. The fear to talk about the oppression in the factory, to talk about the bullying in the factory, and every day at the beginning, for all the time, the oppression from the factory, from the corporate, was strong. They were afraid to be discovered from the factory. They talk about what's happening inside the factory with foreigner people and with people that doesn't work in the factory, and they are afraid to reveal a secret from the factory. All this was the first evidence of oppression. Because it was the oppression that imposed them to avoid to talk about what happened inside the factory, the oppression about to talk that someone died near the factory, someone sick inside the factory, someone faint inside the factory, and the daily bullying that they have. So from that side, it's been really, the oppression was so evident. And we make the investigation in one of the best factory in Vietnam. This is the most important thing.
Wow.
Yes, because
so there's worse. So every other factory in Vietnam is probably worse than this.
Yes, not only in Vietnam. The point is that all over the world, also in
all
Italy,
over the world,
the situation and talking about workers' rights is always difficult, dangerous, scaring. And I choose to talk about, to make an investigation in one of the best industrial park where the workers really wants to work there because the salary, the wage is higher than the others, because the rights are better than the others. And so I want to investigate the system. Because we listen in other factory, not in these suburbs that were in Bac Ninh, but in other suburbs we listen and so unbelievable story like workers beaten from line manager, something like that, so crazy. So I say no, it's so evident that is. I didn't want to do something so manichaeist. I don't know if that is the right word. Manichaeist is mean something totally bad or totally bad. I really want to investigate with
objective kind of. You want a more observational in a way.
Not so objective. Okay. I don't pretend to be objective.
Sure. So maybe observational would be a fair word, more so possible. And you see where it goes.
To stimulate the thinking, the thoughtful of the workers, and to have the possibility to open my view.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to cut you off. I have a filmmaking question that pops in my head then. As far as that approach, trying to approach something, topic or a subject or as a documentarian, but try to maintain, would you say, more of an observational approach just to see what comes about before you nudge? Is that kind of like what you were thinking? Like just to kind of try not to lean too far left or right, but to try to see what comes to you? Is that the idea at first?
Yes, the idea was, the most important, maybe the most important interview, the most important relationship that I built, and also the main protagonist of the movie, she was one of the most supportive of the factory. At the beginning, yes, she was not the most angry with the factory. She defended the factory. She won't explain me what's happening inside the factory, why the factory have to push to produce the...
It's like Stockholm Syndrome, kind of, would you say? Is it kind of like Stockholm Syndrome a little bit, where like somebody has empathy for their kidnappers, in a way? In a way? No, correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm just trying to, stir the pot a little bit.
I don't want to say that. I say
Okay, no
no.
problem, no problem.
I think no. She at the beginning too is the protagonist of the movie. She really believed in the necessity,
Necessity.
in the needs of the factory, of the corporate, to push the worker to work more, and extract profits from the workers. Because without profit, she has a real capitalism mind. And it was surprising for me, because it was for me not the first time, but for me, these kind of people are more interesting, because, of course, unionists, people angry with the boss.
That's the
it's easy to
obvious
find
approach, isn't it? Yeah, there's millions of those.
It's
Not
obvious,
millions, but
exactly.
yeah.
It's too obvious.
This is more of a
and
unique
it's my approach. It's totally my vision.
And her arc can be so wonderful, right? If it flips around, right? It gives you more of an engaging, meaty arc, character arc.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so Tu was just one of the workers that I interviewed at the beginning, and I thought, okay, she's the defend the factory. She's really has a corporate vision inside of her. But we keep the interview. It's interesting. They give us a lot of data, a lot of information, the point of view of normal workers who love to work in the factory, really. And what happened? That she gave us a lot of information, either point of view, but to make this movie, we waiting, because after the 2020, when I worked there for 6 months, I build a relationship. I say, okay, with all the material that we have, we can do the advocacy video that our project needs. But now we have a lot of materials to do a great movie, because we have really a lot of information. We built a really strong relationship that was the best. But we cannot show the faces of the workers. So I thought, if we want to do a real movie, a good movie, we should wait that someone will be fired. And between the workers that we interview, the first who have been fired has been Tu, the most aligned with the corporate, with the factory. But because she was older, she was 38 years old. In the factory, you become very, very older when you over 30. And 38, you are like really older. Really old.
Wow. So they want to get you when you're young and full of energy. They're just trying to squeeze just every drop out, I guess.
Yeah. They say also in the movie, young workers are obedient and easy to manage.
Fall in line.
Yeah.
They don't question what they don't know anything different of, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they are more managed.
Plato's cave. I love to come back to this thing. Isn't it kind of where it's like the reality is what they think, what they've been given, what they think that their reality is what they've been given, right? But they don't know any different. When you don't know any different, how do you know to challenge?
Yeah, exactly. And also, they are, is scientific. The way that they hire people are really scientific, because they hire young people. The average age is between 18 and 25, mostly. But they hire people far from the factory.
Okay, so but country people from the migrants, kind of rural parts?
They want migrants from the countryside.
More desperate, I guess.
Yes, and because they can be more isolated. They cannot build a network.
But
they have really short time to build, not to build nothing, to understand what they are. Because in so short time, the average to work is around 5 years, the most 10 years, but mediumly they work around 5 years. And in that 5 years, they don't have the time to understand that they are really workers. Sometimes they feel like students that save some money to go to the university. They feel like peasants who help the family to grow the economy. So it's just a short period of life to stay in the factory. So they don't have the time to understand that they are working class. And that's the secret. Now the capitalist is really, really, really developed the system. And the working class is really behind, really far from the stage of development of the capitalism.
It's like this Yeah, my brain goes to this Henry Ford place, right? The 9 to 5 kind of, even this is probably not a great example, but I just, in terms of being an American and like how I've had to kind of grow up and understand that clocking in, time does not, how much time you put in does not equal how much effort does not equal more money. I feel like, exploitation is the way that a lot of people seem to make more money. But the whole kind of Henry Ford 9 to 5 clocking in mentality, growing up, people think, oh, the more you work, give me that overtime, please. I want to work more so I can make more.
Yeah.
That whole bullshit thing. And it is that kind of, it's that worker bee, employee, working class space, right? That's a real thing. And so this is a much more extreme version of that. But
No, and in this case, they working 12 hours per day. So it's mean that the overtime is systematically in the contract. The contract of these workers explain that they work for 4 days for a week and then 2 days break. And in these 4 days, they work 12 hours per day for contract, and 8 hours of work and 4 hours of overtime. But it's a systematic. They cannot refuse. They should accept.
I can't help but to say this. I have to say it. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the film industry. Not the same kind of work, but the same kind of hours, truly. And I used to be a grip for 7 years. And I'm not trying to compare, sweat this to that. But as far as the hours are concerned, my very first day on any film set was 18 hours long. And it was like normal, apparently, and I'm like, what? So anyway, it's just a shout out to how kind of that's like there's nothing more kind of what do you call it? It's almost like it's an awkward example to make, where it's like people are wringing these crew members dry 16, 17, 18 hours a day. Like, how do you feel about that? Do you think that's okay?
It was a topic also when we talk with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we talk about also about self-exploitation because
Okay.
it's the mentality. I think to talk about factory, well, I have a Marxist point of view. My point of view is really Marxist. I grow with the Marxist class, I say. So I think that in the factory you can see what's really happened to extract profit, to get profit. It's very clear what happened. But and so from the workers in the factory, you really can touch the real bones and I don't know how to say, the body of the people who feel the oppression about the workers, about the work exploitation. But if you talk with these people, they always arrive to make the same question to you. And they always ask, okay, I'm exploited, but you are here every day, you working 15 hours. and
Yeah.
And you won't exploit us to work with you for 15
That's
hours.
very interesting too. Yeah.
It's become very interesting situation because also, have you seen the movie, right? Or not?
I did watch it, but I had to kind of watch it in pieces because it's been a crazy week. But no, I know the aesthetic and I know the overall. And by the way, I certainly love the way you shot that. You kept coming back to it. That kind of what do you call it? Kind of like an overhead shot, but you had kind of like 2 or 3. You had the table.
Yeah.
But you also had the shot, the kind of.
I want to talk about that. Yeah, exactly.
Really, I've actually never seen that kind of thing displayed in a film before. The way you set that up aesthetically. Would love to talk about that when you're ready. We can keep talking about the themes and the bigger picture if you would like, or we can move into that. But I think that was really cool. It grabbed me, because I see so many movies now. Thankfully, I'm blessed. But that grabbed me. But I will say this. I have a question as far as how much time did you spend on actually, you're following the workers, you're following almost, I would say, I don't know if you want to use the word victims, but the people that are being perpetrated or being exploited. How much time do you also spend on maybe the systems or the people that are put in place by the systems to exploit them?
What to follow them?
The oppressors. Did you spend how much time did you spend on just the oppressors? Did you have any oppressor?
With the manager, you mean?
Yeah, the manager, yeah. And then also maybe even like somebody above him, because of course he's probably getting oppressed too, right? It's a chain of command.
Yeah, exactly. In one of the scene, we bring all the workers, many workers in some secret place, is the black place where you have seen. And that place is, we stay with them for 12 hours, like in the factory, standing up with them. I say, we want to feel your tiredness. We want to see what's happened. They don't know each other, and we bring workers and one line manager. And the one line manager, they don't know each other. They were covered by the uniform. And the line manager accepted to work with us because, she identified herself with the factory. But we have, deep conversation with her. And she really understands our reason, our motivation to go in deep, to investigate what is right, what is wrong in the factory. I asked her and I protect her. I protect every worker there. They don't know each other. They were protected by privacy. We spend a lot of money, a lot of organization to bring each other in the same place, but with covered face. It was really crazy situation. And the oppressor, as you say, the line manager, she defend her position that she was the guard dog of the factory, of the corporate. And she said, this is my job. I am the first exploited. I've been exploited more than the workers because I have to ensure the factory to achieve the goal every day. I need to push the workers. I'm in the middle. So when the workers are really angry with the factory, they see the factory in me, in my body.
I'm just Darth Vader, man. I got to answer to the Emperor, kind of thing. It's like, okay. Right? There's always that, yeah. Justification. Everybody can justify anything, can't they?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not the bad guy.
Yeah. But the interesting thing was that she accepted to share her position, to accept to participate in this project and to show her work. Because she say, for me, it's nothing wrong. This is the system. It works so. If we don't work in this way, economy collapse. You will not have your fucking iPhone. You will not have your fucking... you will not have your electronics and your first world economy.
Yeah, comforts. I mean, and that makes an interesting character, doesn't it? It's almost like, I'm just going to go with it. It's like the Joker in The Dark Knight, right? What a great character, because it's like, of course, he's the bad guy, but also his philosophies make sense if you sit and think to a degree, right? It's like, I understand where you're coming from. I think maybe you could refine, what it is you're doing. But these people, people got to make a living, and a lot of times we're just perpetuating a system, right, to get what we need for our families and for ourselves. And you can understand that, right? This line manager, it's really cool that you got her to come on. And I guess, as far as access is concerned, making a documentary, you're only as good as your access sometimes, right? Like you can't film what door you can't get into. So like, how cool was it for her to come on and say, yes, I want to be a part of this? Was that exciting to you? Were you like, I feel like that might've been a big break, or was she kind of available when you came on already? Like, and just talk about the access, being able to like get somebody to come on board and say, yes, I will let you film me, which always blows my mind how open some people can be a lot of times.
Yeah. I think is everything about relationship. It was about also to put ourselves into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, in the movie, there is one character also, not only the line manager, but there is a really bad guy. He's the landlord. He was a drunken man, always drunk all the time. It was a bet. The big bet of this movie was this man. And it was really unpredictable. We didn't know, and I really didn't know what he wanted to do. But he was the man who really represent all the system, the whole system. He exploits the workers.
You're bad guy.
The bad guy, really the bad guy. But we really build a relationship with him. We become, maybe the best friend that I have during this movie is the bad guy. And all the member of the crew, we fall in love with him.
Wow, yeah.
Because the worker, they were stuck in their position. They can also give us very few time because they don't have time. The things that we do with workers was very clear. They have really clear what they want to say, what they want to do, what they want to show.
Mm-hmm.
But the really the really strong relationship that we have to build was with this guy.
The anti-hero? Not even an anti-hero, a criminalist hero almost. Whatever you want to say. That's where my brain goes. Yeah. But it's like Breaking Bad, for example, comes to my mind,
So
where it's like we don't want to see the victims, or we don't want to see we want to see the bad guy. That's what made it so appealing.
yeah, exactly.
I feel like. But also, did you feel like this bad guy, quote unquote, the landlord, did he have any redeeming qualities? Did he have any human? Of course, he probably did. Right? He had some a human side that you felt. Were you trying to have the audience feel for him? Were there things to grab onto in terms of that?
Exactly. No, that is the point of all the war research. We don't want to judge. We want to see the system. How does it work? How the system change the people? How the system have an impact of the people? So, and if you make this with love, you can see also that this bad guy have a reason because he act in that way, and you discover that he's also a victim of the system. It's a system where you maybe you cannot escape alone. You cannot destroy the system alone. So you are part of the system. You are part of the game, and you have to find your way to survive. And the way of to survive of this guy was to exploit the workers and the women. And that was so crazy because at the beginning we really want to exploit him in the sense that we want to show how bad is this guy. But at the beginning, at the end of the movie, at the end of the whole production, we empathize with him. We empathize with his sufferance. He was a guy. In the movie, maybe it's difficult to really understand the story of this man. But behind this man, there is a big story that you have to cut the story of your character, but the story of this man,
You got to edit and shape, right? Is that what you mean?
yeah, yeah. And this guy was a son of peasant, and the peasant, when the factory arrive, grab the lands of the peasant and say, okay, take this money, we take your land, and you make what you want with your with this money. And they were peasant, so the only things that they can do is just to build a big house, a big dormitory near the factory. Is the most easy thing to do. And he lost his identity. He became a drunk man because he don't know anymore who he is. He is not a peasant anymore. The village is not the same village of before. It's an industrialized, smart city. So he lost his identity. The one way to survive is to exploit workers and to be drunken every day. So we love it. We love him because we really feel the sufferance of this guy, and it's the sufferance of everyone in that crazy system.
And you couldn't write something better. I try not to talk about the same stuff over and over again on this podcast, but like I love documentaries so much because real life is so packed with all the things we care about, right? As far as storytellers and people that gravitate towards the human condition. It's just like so beautiful, so beautiful. And I guess it's all about our job as documentary filmmakers is to recognize when these elements are there, right? Just to kind of see the beauty in his suffering. And, he's not just some guy that's like what's before or how he's acting right now. Like what came before that? Why? Sounds like he just lost a piece of his soul or lost his way for sure. You got to give up something to get something, I think, right? Like, I mean, maybe he was, I don't know, like what's the most redeemable moment in this movie for when it comes to him, would you say? Is there like a moment or a scene or even something that didn't make the cut?
What's the most?
Like redeemable, like something where you feel for him the most, where you're like, oh, man.
Redeemable. Redeemable.
Yeah.
Yeah, redeemable. The most redeemable moment was for the workers when we build all that scene in the factory, and it was I always feel really emotion when I think what's happening inside the factory. Really, it's moved me because we worked a lot. I worked from my point of view, like Marxist activist. I try to organize all that scene with the workers, and I say them, when you will do what you do every day in the factory, we don't want to write anything, we don't want to suggest you anything, just remind what you say during the interview. Everyone know what she lived every day, but no one know each other, no one will know what will happen in the scene. And but during that scene, I say, in some moment we will stop the scene and you can do what you want. You can comment. You will be not anymore in the factory. You will be with us in the reality. And you can comment what you feel. You can destroy the factory. You can destroy everything. You can also beat the line manager if you want. And I really push.
Mm-hmm.
I dream to see this. I dream that they beat the line manager. This was my dream, and that they destroyed the I'll say the supplies that we provide to them, and that was the redeemable moment, as you say, because when they choose to do what they want, it was completely different from what was in my imagination. They don't want to destroy anything. They don't want to fight. That was so hard for me to accept because I tried to push for several scenes. If you want to destroy this, destroy the chair, destroy the table. If you want to destroy the phone, destroy the phone. Make what you want. Let us feel you're angry. But at the end, that was the most important things that I teach, because that was the overview of this historical moment. They were tired. They were tired. They want to sit down, massage each other, and they try to become friends with the line manager. They put in circle and they start to talk, to rest.
Yeah.
And for me, it was hard to accept because it's for me, the meaning, everyone can take his meaning from this, from the scene. For me, it was too strong. I cried during that scene because I didn't expect this. And I
love that. Yeah, you went through a metamorphosis. You went through a character arc, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy, these things. And but the vision that I learned from these things was that the working class in this moment is totally destroyed. They are tired, and the most rebel things that they can do in this moment, it's not work. It's to stand, and in that way, that is a form of rebellion, a form of protest. We don't want to work. We want to sit, stand up, stand down.
Because I guess they've been fighting, right? As far as in the form of work, they've just been going as hard as possible. Yeah. They just want peace.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That was strong.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful just notion of a film. I mean, okay, you have some films that are great, they're entertaining or whatever, and they touch on maybe cultural relevance, but stuff like this is beyond important, as far as just the activism of it all. I think, I think that's a word I can use here, where it's like literally you're trying to push against oppression. You're trying to at least call it out. I mean, in documentary filmmakers do have more power than most people, I feel like, when it comes to these things. We have real legitimate power, because we get to people through emotions, right, and through story versus information and maybe something that's less engaging. And I think the powers that be are terrified of us in certain ways. It's pretty fucking badass, and it's so cool when somebody like yourself, first of all, cares about these topics so much, these themes, enough to feel you have to go do it, right? I mean, because this is hard work. How many years did you spend on this? 5 years? You started during COVID, you said?
Yes, 5 years.
About 5 years, yeah. So that's half a damn decade. Actually, you know what? Let's go into post-production really quick. As far as editing, were you filming and editing at the same time? And then also, how did you know when you were done filming? And how did kind of post and getting the film to the final version, how did all that look to kind of just get this shaped up into the film it became?
Hey, it was really how we get down to the hell.
Always, it seems.
No, everything was very, very, very difficult and exhausting, really. And my favorite moment, of course, is to stay on the field work, to meeting people, to build relationship. That was the best. It was really tiring. We get sick, everything, but I really loved that moment. So this is my reason to live, to suffer for this, for the field work, for filming, and to build the relationship.
Everything's hard if you really want to be good at it, right? So at least we get to make movies. I had a moment when I was like 20, I think it was, where I had already 15 different jobs. I had cropped tobacco and worked in all these things. And I'm like, it seems like no matter what I do, it's going to be difficult and I'm not going to like it. And I'm not going to make money because I was from a small town, no opportunities. And then, but it was the best thing for me because I had this light bulb moment where I'm like, and I was already obsessed with making films and little home videos. I was like, well, if it's going to be hard and I'm already broke and I'm going to be broke, I fucking might as well just do what I want to do then. I'm going to make movies.
Exactly.
Because I'm already fucking broke. I'm already miserable. At least I can be less miserable. Anyways, the rest is history. But that's how I think, as far as I'm ready for the work but you forget sometimes too, there's this kind of misconception sometimes where it's like the more you do something, the easier it'll get. And I don't think that's the case with film. I think you realize the harder it is each time you do it. You're more clear on how hard it is. So it's almost harder in a way to continue making films, go on to the next film, because how much you put into the last one. But when you nail it, it doesn't matter how much hard work it is. It's like this addiction where I just want to do it all over again. That's the crazy part.
Yeah,
it's suicidal.
Exactly.
We're lucky, right? We're lucky, and we're able to.
We are privileged.
We're able to, even if it's 5 people or 500 people, we're able to change somebody's mind about things, or their mood. More importantly, in my opinion, sometimes morale. We provide morale potentially. And also information and knowledge, if we can get to them, especially emotionally. Big deal, it's a cool thing. I like to, and that's what the podcast is about. We're celebrating this shit. I mean, it's like there's so much solo time. There's so much time spent in the trenches where we don't get to actually stop and talk about it. We get one Q&A or a couple of Q&As. So anyways, I think it's important for us filmmakers to talk, which is why we're doing this. But anyways, moving on, sorry. Post-production is a bitch. The editing was tough, you said?
No, for me, it's a nightmare. Post-production is... I'm the kind of director that I don't like. I really do this job because I like to build relationship with people, finding a story, living the experience of this story. Then when I come back, I bring all the material, give this to the editor, and say to him, please, check what I did. If you find something interesting, let me know. If our vision match, it's okay. If our vision don't match, we starting to work. In this case, with my important first editor was Armando Druccio Ventriglia.
Mm-hmm.
We worked from the beginning, from 2020 to 2024. But when all the shooting was ready, we didn't match anymore. It was something like a marriage.
Okay.
We break a marriage.
Interesting.
He gave to me a lot of important suggestion, really, he was something like an author, a co-author, something like that, because he has really great, brilliant ideas, but he didn't get my vision. And so it was so painful for me, but so painful is a
interesting
nightmare for me. Was a nightmare because after March, April, May, June, after 5 months together working on the editing, only on the editing, mostly himself alone, but when we meet each other, we didn't speak anymore the same language.
Okay.
It's happened because also when you leave, I lived something so strong in Vietnam in that moment for all the shooting that I come back really changed my mind. All the experience that we had is changing. And for the editor, it's difficult to have to understand that you are not anymore the same of before.
They're not as connected in a way. Maybe they have fresh eyes in a certain way, but also they're not as they don't see the in between stuff, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so interesting.
Yes, and so in the middle of the last summer or last year, I was so desperate. It was a nightmare because I was only me in front of the editing line, and for me it's a nightmare. The editing is really a nightmare.
1 year ago, about.
Yeah.
About 1 year ago.
1 year ago, yes.
Okay.
And I was desperate in front of, like in August of last year. Literally, I didn't know how to get out from the storyline. I feel that the film is there, but the editor didn't feel that the movie was there. Yes, give me time. Then we broke the relationship and broke the partnership for the editing.
The marriage.
Yes.
Divorce.
And we started to work with Alice after 3 months that I stay alone to find a solution, to find some way to tell the story that I want without cut the most important things that I want to say. Then Alice came. She was a woman. We needed a woman to edit.
I got a story for you real quick. This is so important though, man, because it's not even just it's the editing is so big, and not even just it's like the devil's in the details. Like even the little things, you can go from like it not working at all to it completely working, blowing the doors off with even just one tweak or one little thing. And it's all about just like the right kind of fresh, qualified eyes and ears, right? Anyways, I've been working on this document. I'll keep this very brief because I don't want to talk I've been talking about my own stuff, but whatever. This is kind of a diary entry type situation too. There's this private investigator documentary I've been working on for 4 years. And I thought it was done. It's pretty good, but there's some issues. And we screened it. We did a friends and family screening this past Saturday, and it was good. But for me, I needed to screen it in front of 50 people to really see what isn't working and to feel cringy about certain moments. And simultaneously, I had a now friend who's a filmmaker who actually met on this podcast. It was a great documentary filmmaker, and she wanted to watch it. She loves it. And then she showed it to her producer, and the same day as the friends and family screening, she was like, we'd love to get on the phone with you. And so we talked, and she's like, this is really good, but it could be better if you're interested in possibly having us help you out. And I'm like, yeah, I think so, because you guys feel right. So anyways, as we speak, we're reworking, we're editing again. I'm in that phase you were just speaking of, where it's like, I was where I was at, and no matter how much I want to be done and how painful this damn process is, if it can be better, then let's make it better. And I do think it's like right there, but it's 15 maybe percent away from being, just, how do you say? It goes from good job to like, whoa. Great job. And to even have people that I really respect to believe in it enough to want to help me with getting to that process. Yeah. It's very exciting. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Also talk about, please, just the kind of weird, strange relief or whatever you're feeling with getting to this phase, where I say, okay, the film's done. After all that, now we're screening it. How does that make you feel?
I'm happy. Of course, I'm happy. I'm not the kind of person that... live for this moment. I mean, the festival, all the fashion, all the VIP, and
sure.
I don't love this. I love to stay on the field work. But of course, I feel that this is an important moment, because to stay in a kind of festival like Locarno, it's mean that the voice of the worker, also my professionalism will grow, and I will have more possibility to work on this topic, on this kind of topic. I hope that from after Locarno, we will have more possibility, and maybe we can, I can dream to more about bigger movie. I mean, to make more meaningful movie and have more tools in my hand. So for this, I'm excited. I'm excited for what will happen later.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, the moment that I dream. Then, yes, I will enjoy Locarno. I will enjoy the communities. It's part of the play, of the game. So, sure. Of course, I want to enjoy this moment because we deserve it. I love it that the main character to Locarno, but it was not possible. It's painful.
That sucks.
Yeah, I dream to bring them in some festival, and I hope it will happen someday, because the family really will love to enjoy some festival.
But for them to even know that their story is getting out there, I'm sure is really, really good for them. Really a great feeling.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this? Any past films, past inspiration that you have, either or just in general, or that helped you when you were making this film? Is there anything that your film reminds you of, that it already exists? Any past filmmakers you really like?
So, in general, it's not so popular what I'm saying to you. Also,
cool,
because
let's go.
Your podcast is about also the movie that we make and the movie that we have been inspired.
I try to, it's 80% now, but yeah.
And sometimes I feel so uncomfortable in our community of filmmakers, because I prefer to read book more than to watch movies. I can see maybe.
I like film books, actually, but yeah, stop it in.
So when I start a movie, I try to don't get inspiration, because I'm also a bit ignorant about movies. I feel like that, not so experts about filmography, but I have some reference, because the scene, for example, the scene of the factory, the way that I start to think about the vision, the concept, the visual concept in the black hole was about Dogville. Dogville was I using that movie to talk with my DOP.
Lars von Trier, did that.
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman was in that, I believe. But right? And there was a Skarsgård. Was Skarsgård in that? Yeah, I'd never seen anything like that. And of course, I was coming from an American mainstream audience, but Dogville had like a healthy video release here. And I never forget, like, what in the hell is this movie? At the time, I was like 17 or something.
Yeah, I didn't know how
Yeah.
can I talk about that movie, but I thought that movie because something very strong symbolically. So I thought,
and people that haven't maybe seen, I'm sure most people have, but it's like this. It's shot. It fully acknowledges just this almost like marks on the floor. It's almost like a stage.
Yeah,
it's like a stage rehearsal in a way, as far as the aesthetic design is, right?
Yeah.
But it's filmed, and it doesn't really. But they operate in a way where it's like that's supposed to be normal or something. Behind the way that they chose to almost just strip it bare of production design. But at the same time, it was production design. How do you describe Dogville?
I think it was strong because it was honest to show how was the mise-en-scene. The mise-en-scene was so declared and so the symbolic space was so strong that even on me, that movie has an impact. And usually I'm not so good to... Usually the movie on me is very difficult that they have an impact. And I have in mind that movie. I remember at least that movie. It was meaningful. But, and then one important director, recent director, I worked with him also in the last movie, and it was really inspiring for me for the way that he managed the set, is Roberto Minervini.
Okay.
For me, he has been a teacher.
How do you spell his name?
Roberto Minervini. He's an Italian director, but based in US. He made movies about Texas people, mostly Louisiana, the other side.
Benanini. Oh yeah. Okay.
They work with him like assistant sound.
Very cool. Very cool. Roberto Minervini.
Another one who really inspired me for the scene of the factory was Oppenheimer, The Act of Killing.
Okay.
It was a reference. It was a reference, a clear reference, because we want to talk about is something like a reenactment that we did. So we use part of the reenactment to make a laboratory, to give the tools in the hand of the workers. And Oppenheimer was inspiring for this, I think.
Which circles back to that what I was talking about. Yeah, that one moment in that film where, for me, it was like I'd never, even though I still think it's got its own thing, even though it was inspired by that. Like those scenes that you shot were definitely very unique. It's very cool, and it's cool to see that in documentaries. It's cool to see, like, I don't know, like what do you say? Very stylish, cinematic. I don't know what the words would be, where it doesn't have this typical documentary thing to it. It's more of this like unique thing you haven't seen. I have one more question for you. If you could go back in time to your early filmmaking self, what would you tell them?
It's a difficult question.
Mm-hmm.
I often think about this. And no, it's difficult because don't waste time. Don't waste time and to be brave always when you feel what is right for you. When you feel your way. Sometimes to make this kind of job look impossible for people like me. For example, I come from the working class. So my father, when I left my job, my safe job with a big company to make filmmaker to go to Vietnam, he say, you are crazy. Yeah, I will never support this idea. This is a suicide. And economically is a suicide. For a working class people is terrible.
It makes no sense to these people, yeah.
Yeah,
what?
It makes no sense.
Do what?
It makes no sense. Sometimes it makes no sense. But after all these years, and also now that I'm going to Locarno, yes, it's painful. But if I think all the times that I listen the suggestion of older people, I don't want to say normal people, but obedient people, always of scared people, that always give you suggestion to be not brave, to stay on the street, stay on the trail, don't go outside, it's dangerous. But when you don't feel comfortable with this, you suffer. I suffered for many years because I don't have the trust on myself. For some years, I go to work in a multinational, in a corporate to sell iPhone, to sell a smartphone. And it was so painful for me. For 3 years, I work in there. I work in Texas too. I working in Italy. It was good, but it was so painful for me. It was not me.
Wow, you were living one of the lives of those workers in your doc in a way.
Yeah, that was the secret. Every time that I can bring, this is the second movie that I do about workers, and the main things, the main important things that make me strong in the building relationship with workers is to share my past life. When I tell that I was a worker, this is the secret of my relationship. I'm like you. I'm a privileged because I'm in Italy. I'm not in Vietnam. Okay, I'm a white man in Europe, so I'm more privileged by you. But I know what's mean to be exploited, and this have no price because people see you like one of them. Not like someone from someone from upper class, someone from director movie who, no. I'm worker. I'm a worker. I feel like that. And I feel that I suffer to do this job. And so back to your question, it's difficult when you're young to be really rebel to feel yourself, to feel what you feel, and to take the risk to become really poor. So to myself, I will say, don't waste your time, believe in yourself, and let's do what you feel. But really, if I come back and I see a young man like me, and I see him, this is the paradox. Because I say, yes, feel yourself, but have mind because it's really dangerous. You have to be ready to lose everything, to be really poor, to eat bread and drink water for years. And maybe you will be lucky one day to work and to make it the job that you love. But it's a bet. It's dangerous. And I don't know if it is right what I will say to me if I come back. I don't know if this is right. In a community, in the society, in a world that bet on the life of the people. You can grow and you can die easily, and this is not right. You can spend all your life to follow your dream, to make the right job, the right things, and you can fail. So the thing is, are you ready to die for what you want to do? And I always say, yes, me, but many people not. So the suggestion could be not so good.
I love it. It's such a powerful, beautiful response. And also, I saw something recently on Instagram. It must be true if it was on Instagram. But it was just basically these regrets of people on their deathbed. And the top regret was not living, not choosing to do what they wanted to do, with their life versus falling in line. I wouldn't even want to go back in time, I don't think. Yeah. I don't think I'd mess with it because it's a fun idea. It's a fun question, right? But it's not about the fantasy of doing it. It's more about just like, what have you learned? And we don't learn these things unless we go through these processes, right? Unless we go through the struggle, right? And then you wouldn't have this film if you didn't have your experiences. You're qualified fully to talk about these themes and these stories, right? Because you were one of those people in your own way. Struggle is beautiful. Struggle is growth. If you can hopefully, take it and use it. So thank you again for sharing. Thank you for sharing your, taking the time and sharing your journey. And that's good advice too. And I hope you have a hell of a festival premiere and beyond. Yeah.
No, thanks to you. It has been nice. And congratulations to you because you have been good to take out from me.
Please like and subscribe to this podcast and follow us on social media at Past Present Feature. And let us know in the comments section what movies you're watching. Thank you so much for listening to the Past Present Feature podcast, and we'll see you next time. Peace.